Good morning, everybody. My name's Kerry Duval. I am the Warrior Queen. Today, I've got the pleasure of an absolutely amazing guest. I'm going to put a little bit of warning out there. There might be some swear words in this video, but she's amazing. I think we're going to enjoy this one. I haven't done a one-on-one for a while, so let's crack on. See you in a minute. Welcome to Warrior TV, Tanya.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I just appreciate it immensely.
Yeah. Well, before we start, we're going to crack on and we're going to do a couple of quick fire questions. The first time I've actually done them this year. I've not done like I said, I've not done a one-on-one for a while. I normally did them all the time. Then I started jumping on shows. Well, I got dragged onto shows, shall I say.
Well, let's see where this goes.
No, well, so we'll start with my ultimate favourite question for guests. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. And I know the answer to this already, but I'm going to start again. I know the answer to this already because we spoke about it before we come live. But for the viewers that don't know, cat or dog?
Well, cat. I'm definitely the cat lady.
Yeah. Yeah. But we sort of figured out that you're not as crazy cat lady as me.
No, not quite, but I'm getting there. I'm catching up, Kerry.
No, well, I'm on the verge of adding a 10th, maybe. So,
you know. Well, you're winning. You're just winning. That's all I can say.
As long as cats are in loving homes with loving families, nobody wins. The cats win because ultimately they're safe, they're happy, they're loved.
That's right. Just don't treasure your furniture too much. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no. When you've got leather recliners and kittens, they got trashed a long time ago.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because when they were babies, they somehow figured out that they've got that on a recliner. They've got that little flap at the back.
Yeah.
Because obviously they come apart for transportation.
That's right.
And they figured out how to get up inside the settee. So, kittens, settees,
and the scratching. Even though there's a myriad of scratching posts around, they still like to scratch on the nice stuff.
Yeah. I've got cube units with drawers in them. And the drawers have been scratched, and it's like, I'm not replacing them. I'm sick of replacing them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We could sit here and talk about cats all day long, but we're not here to talk about cats.
We certainly could, but that's not going to get us anywhere, really, is it?
Well, we could have a show talking about how cats help our mental health.
Well, if you want to start off with that, I've got a really great little story for that.
Go on then.
If you don't mind me, launching into that. So I'm a grandmother raising my grandchildren. I've got my two granddaughters living with me. One is 11. She was failure to thrive at birth, or when I got her at 4.5 months, she was failure to thrive. She is now 11, and she is just undergoing an autistic spectrum disorder assessment. So I'm fairly convinced she's ASD. So she has I got her a kitten. We kind of played around with the dog for a little while, but she didn't want the dog. It just didn't gel, So I got her a kitten. Got her a cat, a little kitten, and she's gone today. She's gone away. Well, yesterday she went away on camp. Her cat, who's now 2, going on to 2, is missing her terribly and is laying on her bed crying and can't, I can just imagine what the reunion will be like when she comes home on Friday.
She'll be licking her face and everything.
So she's her companion cat. She sleeps with her every night. She helps her calm herself down when she needs that. She's always around her, if she's not on the bed, she's underneath the bed on a little cushion. So that's her companion cat.
Yeah, I know completely. I've got 2 children, both with autism, and they both have companion cats.
Yes.
One will sleep on the bed, on the pillows. I mean, my son, he was the first one to be diagnosed. He generally has 3 to 4 cats with him during the day when he's chilling out.
Yes.
In between homeschooling. So I know completely. Cats and autism do gel together quite a lot.
Absolutely. They just need that to be able to pet them or hear them purr. It's just that soothing, My other granddaughter, who's 13, she has a lot of anxiety. She's actually got a dog. So we have a dog in the house, but he's her dog. And he does wonders for her, but that's who she suited. That's who suited her. So, but I've got my cats and she's got her cat, and yes, so we're very much a cat family.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. I love cats, but
me too.
on with the show, because we've been shouted
with the show.
Because we've been shouted at by the boss. Come on,
let's go.
Yeah, it's like, shut up, Adam. Yeah. So the last question: tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Definitely coffee.
I used to drink tea. Now I've gone to coffee. Kids.
Oh, hang on. You're in England. You should be drinking tea.
I used to drink Earl Grey tea, but then the kids and homeschooling, it's not strong enough. Need coffee.
No, you need coffee. Absolutely.
Yeah, you need coffee. Right, anyway, away from cats, we're going to talk about you and the amazing story about you. So tell us, who is Tanya?
So Tanya is this versatile, strong, resilient, and fucking awesome woman who has been through the ringer as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. Then went on to marry, my male counterpart, who was very much in the same vein as my abuser. I also lived through family violence, suffered significant suffered significant mental health after that. I was brave enough to walk away from that relationship, but the fallout of that was really significant on myself and my child. And then anyway, you pick yourself up and you tumble forward and you continue on, and moved, down the road and in the years. And I become a child protection caseworker. And, and I think that was a lot to do with my background. And through that, my son had a couple of girls. They come into my care, and then I become a grandparent carer. And then I was fighting the system that I was working in, because the system doesn't look after grandparent carers at all. And then I kind of went, I burnt out. I had a significant breakdown. I was suicidal. I was put on heavy duty medication. I was very close to being hospitalized, and luckily I didn't, because I didn't know what to do with the girls at that point. But I recovered, and my journey to recovery was through, I found coaching. I found life coaching, and I found I found that through the Coaching Institute. I signed up for their course, and I started discovering about me, and I started working out that, I'm actually not broken. I'm actually not broken, and I'm a lot stronger than I gave myself credit for. And I might have been a little bit bent in places, but that's okay, because that's what makes it me. That's what makes me me. And through the work and through the learning, through, coaching, I was able to just kind of get my feet back underneath myself and really find a passion and a direction to move myself forward, but not just to move me forward, to move my girls forward, because, we're all kind of stuck in this I was going to say victim mentality, but it's not even that. It's like we're in survivor mode, and it's about just saying it's okay to live now. It's okay to be happy now. It's okay to be okay now. Yeah. And so my journey is about helping women. So I'll read this so I don't get it wrong. So I help women. I specialize in helping women who experience sorrow, worries, and fear to connect with their uniqueness by developing pride, power, and purpose, which means that they can say, and excuse the language here because it gets raunchy,
it's okay.
they can say fuck yes to themselves, fuck off to others, and live the fucking way they want to. And that is what it's all about. Because if we can't live the way that we want to live in saying yes to us, then what's the point? What is the point of it?
Exactly. You know what? And that's amazing. The fact that you empower women to say "fuck you" to the world,
Yeah,
and to get them to be the person that they are.
yeah, they're
Regardless of
authentic.
everything they've been through, they are themselves.
That's
And
right.
and obviously that's the message that we want to put out there. It's okay not to be okay because
Yeah,
nobody's perfect,
no,
but
no, definitely not.
we are all unique. We are
Yeah,
all we can all learn from the journeys we've been through, and we can change our lives. It's
that's
not
right.
easy. The road to recovery, it's not easy. And when you're
No,
on that recovery road, it's still not easy. There's still
no,
going to be those bad days, but that's okay
that's right.
because it's okay to still have bad days. I mean, everyone in the mental health warriors have all had their own mental health journeys, and all of us, and I can tell you now, all of us still have those bad days. Or
Absolutely.
yeah, our warrior Steve Knapp, who obviously we cancelled Power Hour this morning, he's having some personal issues at the moment, but it's
Mm.
okay because he's going to come back even stronger.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, one of what I would say to that, I still have my bad days. Something will happen that will make me go, oh, and the recovery time is slow at times. But what I can say is keep putting those feet forward, because you will find that the more you do learn how to recover, the quicker the recovery time will be. So it used to take me weeks to get over something that happened, that I would be just stuck in this cycle of blame and on myself, not on anyone, but on myself. But now I recover really quick, but because I've put in the work, and it's about keep putting in the work. And I've got some really, really great tools to help you learn what the work is.
Yeah, right, brilliant. And maybe obviously we'll get into that while we're in the show. But I want to
Sure.
get back to you as a person. So talk me through your childhood. So what was Tanya like as a child?
Well, Tanya was, interesting. I actually sometimes I go, I wonder if I'm a bit ASD. I wonder if I'm on that spectrum there somewhere.
Could be.
If, who knows? So I was shy. I was curious. I was pretty. I was very much a pretty child. I was the last of my siblings. Um, I guess, I was very anxious. I was very anxiously attached to my mother. My mother, bless her, she only passed last year. She, she had been through domestic violence, and quite significant domestic violence throughout her marriage and her relationship. And so she didn't have a lot of time for us kids. She was very busy surviving. So I was very anxiously attached. So I had lots of anxiety. And I guess, looking back and knowing what I know now, um, we all, the four of us, presented to a perpetrator as the perfect, you know, family to get hold of,
Yeah,
because we were all highly vulnerable. My mother was highly anxious, been through domestic violence. I was very little. I was only 4. Then the ages go up, but we were just, wanting this positive male role model. My mother was looking for a husband to to, this was back in the 60s.
Mm.
So looking for someone to help care for us, because there was no pension or, family allowance or any of those things.
Yeah.
And so, so of course, she kind of put us in line with this man who ended up being a perpetrator. And once that started, um, it was really regressive. I became more anxious. I became uh, very isolated. Started wetting the bed. I had all the classic signs of a child who has been abused, but of course no one saw it back then.
Mm.
So I was I was I guess I was a little bit of, I tried a little bit, but I never tried completely, because I had been taught through, my elder siblings and my mother, that if I don't try too hard, they'll just do it for me. So I was taught that, as a little girl. So I would try a little bit at school and they would just fill in the rest of it. So I guess, I was kind of this middle of the road kid. I was kind of okay, but I gave up on stuff really easily.
Mm.
Yeah, that was kind of me. And that was primary school. But in high school, what's really started to happen, I think this is where you could really start to see the abuse coming through, was I became very isolated. I no longer had many friends. I didn't have any, really. And I would sit and read a book. That was my lunch, or any time I had free time at high school, I would be in my head in a book. And I only did what I had to do at school just to get through, and I left at year 10. But then, I did a few jobs here and there and that kind of stuff. And I was hitchhiking one night. I got raped. That stuff happens, and never reported it. Never did anything about it. Um, and and I just went on with my life. I look back now and I think, if I had, when I was being raped, if I had actually tried to stop that, or said no, or whatever, I was only 18, I think I would have been seriously hurt. He was quite a big man, and I think, and I was highly vulnerable. I think I would have put myself into immense danger. So I'm kind of glad that I had been taught not to say no. You know, so so moving forward, I got married to a person who was abusive. We were together for 13 years, but I finally left that marriage. That's kind of when I started to really notice patterns in my life. I noticed what I no longer wanted in my life, and the patterns of behavior of people around me, that I kind of went, I'm attracting these people to me. I'm attracting people who are needy. I'm attracting people who just want to bitch about everything. I'm attracting men who won't listen to me, who won't, can't hear what I'm saying, only want sex. Why am I attracting those people to me? And then I went to university, and I did psychology, and I graduated that, and I kind of, my interest and curiosity grew even more, and which kind of got me onto this journey of into the child protection career. And that was such an eye, even though I had had a traumatic childhood, it was an eye opener of what else was happening to children out there. But it also took its toll on me mentally, and I wasn't quite aware of those. I kind of knew I was seeing patterns, but I didn't know what to do about them. I was so unconscious to, yes, here's that, but what else? I don't know what else. I just went on and lived my life, and until I had the really big breakdown, um, and 3 court cases for the grandkids, and that took its toll, and a big breakdown, mental health breakdown. Um, and that really gave me the time, looking back now, because I do a lot of gratitude. So that gave me, even though it wasn't a great experience, but it provided me with so much insight to who I am and what I can achieve and where I've been and where I'm going to and how far I have come. And I got into the coaching via, just happened to be sitting on the computer one day and this ad popped up and I went, oh, that's interesting. But I wouldn't have been there if I hadn't had that, breakdown and having that time off. So it's interesting how life goes. But I think the biggest thing is start being aware. Start being aware of what you want, because the more there's a classic saying that what we see is what we get. And at that point, I was seeing, abusive people or gossipy people or people who weren't, it didn't have me in my best interests in at heart. And that's what I was getting back to me, and so therefore I was living that. So if you can be aware of, what you see is what you get, and start surrounding yourself with positive people or people who are true, who are authentic, and start seeing the patterns of not just your behavior but of what you're attracting around you. It's about raising that awareness uh, in your life, and that's the turning point.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So you've gone from being the victim and just surviving
Yeah,
to completely turning your life around and starting on this new amazing journey. So
absolutely.
I want to take you back, and it's completely okay if you say no. We
Yeah.
respect that. I want to take us back to the lowest point in your life and how
Oh,
it
yeah.
felt, what had happened, how it
Yeah.
felt,
Yeah.
and how you sort of got yourself to stand up and
Yeah.
get back from that lowest point.
Yeah. I think that's a really powerful question. And I don't mind answering it because there's so much learning
Yeah,
in it. So my lowest point, and I had been struggling for about a week. This was in the midst of my breakdown, and when I say breakdown, I was crying. I wasn't eating, so I'm quite a bigger girl, but I'd lost a lot of weight. I was grey. I wasn't getting out in the sun. I was only doing enough to make sure the kids were okay.
yeah,
Otherwise, I was laying on the lounge crying and off the planet. The kids went off to visit their father, so they were gone for 2 weeks, I think. And all the lead up to them going was I was planning to kill myself, and I was thinking of all the different ways that I could do it. The doctor had prescribed me with a really heavy medication that helped me go to sleep. I can't remember what it was called. Sorry.
yeah. That's all right.
Um, yeah, because I wasn't sleeping, all that kind of stuff. So I had, will I sit in the car with the pipe in the hose in and shut the garage? Will I do that? Will I take some medication and just, go to sleep? Will I have a bath? So this is the stuff I was thinking of
Yeah,
in the lead up to the girls going for their holiday. Will I slip my wrists? How am I going to do this? I finally worked out, I had a plan. I worked out what I was going to do. I worked out when I was going to do it. And so I packed the kids up and drove them 5 hours up the road and come back. And the next day I woke up and I wrote some letters. I said my goodbyes, and I sat on the lounge with a glass of water, boring water. Don't know why I picked water, but anyway, water. And I had popped all these pills out of the packet, and I was sitting there, and I had tears streaming down my face. I had some in my hand and some on the table, and I I wasn't quite convinced. I don't know. There was something saying to me, don't do this. But I was in such a desperate time that I just wanted the pain to stop, the noise. I just wanted the pressure in my head to stop, the constant whirring and noise and heaviness and the grayness and the blackness to just stop. So that was my lowest point, that I was sitting there contemplating and almost to the point of doing it. I actually put one in my mouth and I spat it back out again, and I went, I can't, because, you know, I was justifying how the girls will be so much better without me, how everybody around me who loves me would be so much better without me.
Yeah.
So I was justifying all that. And I don't know, I was seeing a psychologist at that point, and I just remember him saying, don't give in to this, just be brave and pick up the phone. And those words just were whirring in my head, and I picked up the phone and I rang the suicide helpline, and it was enough just to give me a circuit breaker, and to get rid of the pills and start my road to recovery.
Wow. And you know what? And thank you for sharing that. You know, and I can totally connect with you. In my lowest point, I was sat on the kitchen floor. So much had happened in the week or two around that, and one of those things obviously was I lost my nana. And my nana she wasn't just a nana to me, she was like a mum to me as well, because I don't have the best of relationships with my own mother. My nana was my mum. She was the most influential woman in my life. You know, whenever I had a problem, I spoke to my nana on the phone, or I went over to her house and I spoke to her. You know, and she'd sort of put the will to rights for me. And me to lose that in my life hit me hard.
Yeah.
You know, so I was there, sat on the floor of the kitchen, and I had alcohol and I had tablets, similar to you. You know, and I was trying to tell myself, you know, I want to go with my nana. I want to go back to my nana. You know, the world doesn't need me. My kids don't need me, and that lot. But then, I don't know what it was. But then, something fell off the side, and it triggered my partner to come into the room, and he stopped me.
Yeah.
You know, so the universe intervened, and Adam came into the room, and he took the tablets off me.
Yeah.
You know, and I sat there and I broke down in tears even further with him.
Yeah.
You know, T-shirt was drenched with my DNA. It was. Yeah. You know, but
I'm so sorry for your loss, Kerry. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you, but you know, it's been 3 years now. You know, although I still miss her like mad. You know, I believe that I wasn't meant to go anywhere that day. I believe that the universe had this plan for me, and I had to hit that lowest point.
Yeah.
To get onto the warrior journey.
Absolutely.
That I'm on now, and become the warrior that I am right now.
That's right.
You
Isn't
know?
it amazing? Isn't it amazing when we hit that low point, that, you know, and then we look where we were to how far we come. And I guess that's the message I want to give out, is when you're at that low point, you know, really take care of you and reach out and get help, because the journey for you is not ending there. It's got so much further to go. And if you know, in 3 years, 5 years, or 6 years, whatever it might be, you will look back at that low point and go, wow, look how far I've come, and look how much what I have achieved.
Exactly. You know, and one of the things I was looking at when I was in tears was a tattoo that I'd bought for my partner, and it actually says, "My story isn't over yet." And I was looking at it and thinking, my story's not over yet. You know, and I still look at that tattoo and I'm think, I was looking at that at my lowest point. You know, and that's the tattoo that that's one of the things that sort of helped me.
Yeah.
You know, my story isn't over yet.
That's
so it doesn't really matter, you know, you might hit those low points, you know, but the universe has got a plan for us all.
That's right.
And the universe will intervene in the most weirdest ways. I don't know how something got pushed off the side.
That was your nan looking after you.
Yeah, there was nobody else in that kitchen with me. So I've got to believe that somebody or the universe in some way pushed that thing off the side.
Yeah.
You know, and triggered my partner to come in. He wasn't my husband at that point.
Yeah.
You know, but he came in the room and obviously he stopped me.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
And got me back.
Yeah.
It took it time, but I come back from it.
And it's, you know what, it's one step at a time. You can't rush your healing,
Exactly.
and your healing is multi-layered. If it, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could look at somebody and go, oh yes, I can see the wound in you, let's just stitch that up in a week, you'll be fine. But it doesn't
Yeah.
work that way for
No.
intergenerational trauma, or inner child, inner child healing, or trauma that needs to be healed. Or, you know, some of my journey had been workplace issues that, you know, had kind of contributed to the breakdown, because, you know, I was working in child protection, so, you know, it was a, you know, pretty full on situation there as well. But, you know, if we could, it's just, you know, depression and mental health is so multi-layered, and you might be able, it's a journey. So the path to healing that, you've got to go, it's a journey for me. It's not the destination, it's the journey. I'm still healing, I'm still finding patterns and things in my life that I go, hmm, that's a curious thing, I wonder where that's coming from, and how can I heal that and move forward. And it's about being curious about things.
Yeah. So obviously, from the lowest point, now obviously you're a survivor. You've changed your life around, and you've helped children
Mm,
in the different roles you've done.
yeah.
And you wrote a book as well, didn't you?
I did. So I was a contributor to a book. So I wrote a chapter in the book, and which was amazing. So, oh, and the name has just escaped me. It's just flitted out of my head. Change Makers. There we go. Got it back. Change Makers Volume 4. And it's a book written by women who have been on journeys. So please, you know, if you want to, and there's, I think there's now 6 volumes. So, you know, reach out. They're on Amazon, like for $4 or something. You know, go on and do yourself a favor and grab one of those. But my story was written in volume 4, my chapter, and it was really about, it wasn't so much about my mental health at that point. It was a little bit, but it was my story of being a childhood sexual assault, abuse survivor,
Hmm.
and a family uh, violence survivor, and how education really saved me. So the emphasis being on that, I'll give you the story. One day I was working as a cleaner in a motel, right?
Hmm.
And I was 28, I think, 26, 28, something like that. And I was cleaning the toilet, and I just went, for fuck's sakes, this cannot be my life. This cannot be it.
Hmm.
There's got to be something else for me out there. And that one kind of moment sent me on this path of education. And that moment also woke me up to my patterns and what was happening around me, because it wasn't long after that I left my husband then. And you know, the education really saved me. I think, looking back, that's the road that has enabled my journey to move forward at a good pace, you know. And it's one thing that I always go back to if I'm feeling a bit stuck or lost. And I'm back at uni now. So I rolled in what we call TAFE over here, which is like I don't know what the equivalent in the UK is, but it's like a college. It's, you know, for people who need to learn to read, or, you know, adults. It's for adult
Yeah.
education centre. And I enrolled in that because I thought I was really dumb. I thought I was really stupid. And so I enrolled in a course to teach you to read and write.
Hmm.
And of course, I could read and write really well. I went through school, but I just didn't have the confidence and the belief in myself.
Hmm.
And I did that course for 6 months, and the teachers looked at me and went, you are fine. Like, you need to enroll in something else. So then I went, okay. And that was such a boost, you know, to my confidence.
Hmm.
So I went, okay, well, maybe I want to be a secretary. That's, you know, that's a good goal to have. And so I enrolled in the secretary school, and, you know, which was great because now I can touch type. but that's about all I got from it. And then that went for 6 months, and I kind of went, what now? Like, what now? What is it now for me? I don't want to be a secretary. That's stupid. I didn't find that very thrilling, apart from the touch typing at all. So where do I go from here? And because I never did year 11 and 12, I couldn't go to uni. So they had a year 11 and 12, like in combined course. So I went, I'm going to enroll in that. So I enrolled in that, got in, and the next 12 months was me learning all the things about going to school, like year 11 and 12, which I never learnt, before. And that got me into uni. So I got really great marks and I got into uni, and that was the best time to actually receive that letter to say, congratulations, you've been accepted into, university. And I'm, what, me? Like, yeah. So, and because, I needed a uni degree to go into child protection, not that I knew at that point that that's where I was going to head. So I kind of lived unconsciously, I was just kind of tumbling through life and going, oh, this sounds interesting, or this looks good. But the universe was leading me. I truly believed the universe was leading me on this path. And anyway, so I got through uni and picked up a job and worked in a couple of jobs. And someone, kind of a mentor, said to me, I think you should go into child protection. I think you would be really good. And it just so happens that a child protection, they were advertising for caseworkers, and I went, okay, let's give this a crack, and went into that. And you know rest is history, as they say. I did that for 12 years. I journeyed through that. The end was really, I did 10 years in New South Wales, and that's when I had the breakdown. And I took some time off and recovered, and I thought, because I missed it, I missed working with kids in trauma, and I missed talking to parents about trauma and family violence. I missed that intervention, and because it's a bit of a rush, right? It's a bit of a rush to do that work, as well as long hours and really heavy. And so I was actually headhunted by Victoria. Someone in Victoria rang me and said, "Hey, I've seen your resume on Seek. Would you be interested in applying for this position?" And I went, sure, I feel really good. I feel really strong. Yeah, of course, yeah. So I was successful, got that one, and moved to Victoria, where we are now. And it was all, it was fantastic. I initially loved the job. It was exciting to move states. It was really important for me at that point to move away from my intergenerational trauma, and I know this sounds a little bit weird, but move away from my family connections to get some air. I needed some air and some space. I didn't need people telling
that
me
doesn't
what
sound
was
weird at
wrong.
all. It doesn't
Yeah,
sound weird at all.
yeah,
If
yeah,
that's something that you needed to do, then that's completely up to
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so I did that, and did 2 years, nearly 2 years at the child protection in Victoria, and I went, I'm done. I'm just so done with this, and started my own business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's my coaching business. So I'm on the journey of my coaching business, and
Yeah.
I still help families, and I still talk to women about trauma, and I still help talk to women about family violence, and what their reactions to things, and all that kind of stuff that I love, and I'm really enthusiastic, and I love teaching them so much about themselves within that frame. And so I still get to do the things I love doing. It's just in a different light now.
Yeah. So what was it that made you make that jump from going in your child protection services over to life coaching? Was there a certain moment that made you decide you wanted to do that change?
Interesting question. So in New South Wales, like I said, I'd had this huge mental breakdown, and that was due to court case number 2, which had taken its toll on me. Oh no, sorry, number 3, taken its toll on me, and that's to do with the girls in my care.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
you don't need to go into that if you don't want
no,
to.
no, I won't
Yeah.
go into that.
No.
But I there had been some stuff at work that I wasn't coping with, and I
Yeah.
don't really want to talk about that because
And that's
that's
fine.
stuff. But needless to say, I was not in a very healthy mental state. So I had been blamed for something, and I admit I'd done something that I probably shouldn't have done, but it was from the heart. It was heart stuff, not mind stuff. And so I got into a little bit of trouble. And so it was kind of this cascade. So one thing happened, and then another thing happened, and then another thing happened, and that kind of everything unraveled. When you kind of get those few hits, it really, if you aren't in a great mental health place, it can really unravel quickly, as I'm sure you've experienced.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things happen and it really knocks you to the floor. And it was that. And I think that was the universe saying, this, you need to stop. This is no longer your road. And so fast forward to when I moved to Victoria and went, oh, I'm missing this and stuff. And when I got back into the groove of it, into the child protection work, I kind of went, this isn't what this is not what I want. And I think because I was doing the life coaching and I'd done 2 years of courses within that and a lot of inner healing work, I was talking to myself and I was listening to myself, which is the key. And I was saying, and I, my body was saying to me, this is not where you are meant to be. You are not in a great mentally. I was getting really stressed and my body was starting to be very fatigued very quickly. And I just went, I can't do this anymore. And it was a question I continued to ask myself. Is it this, do I want to proceed with child protection on this level, or do I want to take a risk and say, excuse the language, fuck yes to me and fuck everything else and take the risk on me? And that was the question. And I said, me, I'm going to take a risk on me.
Yeah. And that risk paid off.
It's paying off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell us about the new life coaching business and how it's helped
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So my life coaching business is about helping women predominantly. I also coach men, but I'm really centered around healing women because I think because I'm of a bit of an older generation, and we were told the only value that we had as women was to serve our man, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from for women, a little my age or a little bit younger who had that similar experience, that the only value as women we have is to serve our men. And of course we know that's not true, because we are so much more powerful and valuable than than people would like to even recognize. So, and we can create our own destiny and we can create our own, path in life. It's just that we have to take the risk on us and say, yes, I will. I'm going to do that for myself. So my life coaching business works with women. I coach. So I coach women around inner child. And I believe the foundations of us as humans are created when we're small, very small babies, children, up until about 5. And it's that attachment and bonding with our main caregivers and or the magical big people, the people who are supposed to love us no
Yeah.
matter what. Um, and if we don't attach to them in the right way, or they can't give us what we need all the time, it creates trauma in our body, and it creates a sense of disconnect. And that, moving forward, that disconnect and lack of attachment, or anxious attachment, or whatever you want to call it, then creates what our relationships will look like in the future. And that's our relationship with self and our relationship with others. And so I'm really passionate about creating for women a journey of inner child healing. And that is about being aware of what you're feeling, and what your body's doing. So awareness, acknowledgement, and action. So being really starting to talk to yourself, starting to ask yourself some questions, and seeing what answers come up. Start to raise your awareness of what your feelings, because emotions are just emotions. There's no good or bad emotions. They're just emotions, and it's okay for us to feel emotions. Many people, as they're growing up, are taught, even now, are taught, you as a child, you need to be happy. You can't show anger or sadness, or tantrums, or any of that. You need to be happy. You need to have a smile on your face. As certainly growing up, I was told, if you're going to be in my presence, you need to have a smile on your face, or kids are seen and not heard, or stop that crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. That those kind of statements. So we need to teach our kids about emotional regulation, because I think a lot of people don't know how to emotionally regulate. And what does that mean for us as humans? It means that we are we are driven by our internal emotions, which is why you see the Karens on, Facebook or whatever, going off because they have no emotional regulation, or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So I think it's to be aware, and to acknowledge, be aware of our emotions and what our emotions are doing in our body, and to acknowledge those for what they are. Yes, I'm feeling angry. Oh, it's sitting in my stomach, or it's sitting in my chest, and it's red. Oh my God, it's red, or it's black, or it's grey, whatever, whatever it is for you. And actually doing an action about it. And my action that I teach is breathing, is the breathing technique of breathing in for 6, hold for 6, breathing out for 6, and doing that 3 times. Very easy, very quick. You don't have to show other people, but it helps. It's just moving emotions through your body, because we are humans, and as humans, we're energetic beings. We have energy running through us, and that energy is emotions. And if we can't release these emotions from our body, we are going to get sick. Dr. John Demartini talks a lot about emotions storing in our body, and our bodies becoming sick because of that. So I'm not a specialist in that, so please go look up other people to talk about that. But it is a lot of well researched topic. But so you've got to move those emotions through your body. Will Hoff, I think he does a lot around the breathing techniques and stuff as well. So, but yeah, moving those emotions through your body. If it's not a breathing technique, then go for a walk. I remember when I got my first big paying client, I was so excited, right? Like I was like jumping up and down, so excited. And I did, oh, I'm really excited. Oh, it's sitting in my chest, and it's tingling, all over me. And breathing wasn't doing it for me then, because I was super excited. So I just went for a quick 10-minute walk, and I come back and I went, right, now I can concentrate and do what I need to do. And that's how we, as humans, should be working our emotions, should be, living our life really, and teaching our kids that as well.
Yeah, amazing. So where can people find you?
So they can find, my business name is Reach Solutions Australia. I work not just in Australia, but all overseas, because isn't Skype and Messenger and all these other apps just wonderful? WhatsApp,
It is.
whatever, amazing to be able to talk to people anywhere in
Yeah.
the world. So Reach Solutions Australia is my business on Facebook business page. Just Google, you search that. Yeah, and all my contact information is there. I'm just currently writing a new book. So so it's very early. So hopefully in the next year or so, it'll be out about my journey. If anyone, I also do a lot of work around getting things done. If you would like a PDF of how to get things done, I've got a little 5 or 10 page PDF document on how to get things done. You can just send me an email at reachsolutionsaustralia@gmail.com, and I'm happy to flick that off to you.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your amazing story.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And, thank you so much for being so enthusiastic, to receive this information, but also, congratulations on your journey and what you're doing for other people. Lots of love to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. So what do you think about the mental health warriors then, as a final question?
Oh, I think it's amazing channel, and I love the rawness of it. I love that you ask the hard questions and get people to, because unless we can walk in help, by walking in other people's shoes or seeing other people walk their path, we know that we're going to be okay. And I think that's the message, isn't it? No matter what you're going through, just keep walking that path and you too will be okay, because we can get there at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And that is one thing that we do say, it's okay not to be okay. Hashtag never quit.
Never quit. That's right.
Yeah, and obviously we're here to say, we want to put an end to the stigma of mental health by showing the faces of mental health.
Absolutely.
Mental health can affect anybody at any time. It doesn't discriminate between men and women or what the colour of your skin or anything.
That's right.
It affects anybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's an unseen thing. People who might have seen me go to the shop when I was in the midst of my crisis, or even if I'm having a really shitty day, which, still occurs, they would just see me and go, oh, look at her, she's doing her thing. But they don't see the inside. They don't see what's going on in here. And I think it's really important to ask, are you okay? Ask that question, because you never know what someone's going through.
Exactly. And those 3 words could mean the world to somebody.
Absolutely.
Somebody just to say, are you okay? Could spark a conversation that could change somebody's life. You don't know if that person is contemplating those suicidal thoughts in their head. Right. And a simple act of, are you okay, could stop that suicidal train in its tracks.
That's right. Exactly.
They are 3 most powerful words.
They sure are. Sure are.
So maybe if you're watching this today, maybe say that to one person, one stranger in the street. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Those simple things. You never know. You could meet a friend for life.
That's exactly right. If you see a person standing by themselves alone, just go up and say, hey, you doing okay? Are you okay? Because there's so loneliness and mental health and isolation. It's so rife at the moment. Coming, we've been out of lockdown for a little while here, but even my anxiety around the going out shopping is massive. So, make sure you're asking everyone, are you okay?
Yeah, exactly. Especially in times like this with the lockdowns, I mean, my social anxiety, it hasn't changed. Being in lockdown has been brilliant to me. I don't have to go out and speak to people.
Exactly. Right with you.
I mean, I can sit in front of a camera with a complete stranger and open up about everything. Yeah. But going out in public, I'd rather do this all day long than go out in public.
I agree with you. I think isn't that we're introverts with an exterior of extroverts, and I think that's we do this cover really well of being an extrovert, but when you get to know us, we're really not.
Yes. Yeah. A little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow morning, Energize with Melissa Christie is back, so join us for that. Thursday tomorrow, so Warriors of Attraction is on this week with Adam and Anthea. and they have an amazing show lined up. So that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Join us for that. Thank you again for joining us, Tanya. You've got an amazing story.
Thank you.
If you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. It does help the mental health warriors to grow and to reach more people. So it just helps us raise awareness and put an end to that stigma of mental health. Final thing, see you later. Bye.
Bye.